This is what I would call a greatly improved second effort. This is the all-new Hyundai Veloster. It is no longer simply an economy car in sporty car clothing. This car is the Veloster Turbo R-Spec. So under the hood we have a 1.6-liter inline 4-cylinder engine with a turbo, hence the name, making 201 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. In this car, it's backed up by a 6-speed manual gearbox, topped off with a B&M shift knob that is fantastic, perfectly weighted, and the throws are wonderful. Though when it is hot out, you have to shift this thing by the collar, unless you want the imprint in your hand. Some of you might want that though, because you're insane. The non-turbocharged Veloster makes do with a 2-liter engine that produces something like 147 horsepower. This is the one you want though. This is the fun one. Well, until we test the end performance one, which is really the one you want, this is the one you want. So what is this one like to drive? Well, I can say that it is far better than the version that came before it. The problem with the Veloster prior was that it looked like a hot hatchback and it drove like a pure economy car. There was nothing exciting about the way it drove. This is different. This is better. This shows the results of what Albert Bierman has been doing for the company. The former M Division boss has been dabbling in these cars, and it pays off. Is this a true GTI competitor? That's a better question. It seems like it lives somewhere just below the GTI. It is better in terms of price. This one is extremely well equipped, and it is just $23,000. And that is an amazing thing to say in this day and age, that this fun to drive, well equipped car is under not just $30,000, it's under $25,000. That's awesome. It only weighs 2,800 or 2,900 pounds, so it's a little bit lighter than a GTI. The GTI has more horsepower though. This thing also has an overboost function that can bring it from 195 pound-feet to 202 pound-feet under full acceleration moments. So that's kind of cool. There's more on tap for the engine. It's not perfect though. Like I said, this is a fantastic second effort, but it is not perfect. I'll tell you what's good. The brakes feel great. The chassis feels extremely well sorted. This shifter is awesome. The clutch is clear and concise. I like all that. The interior is great. I love these cloth seats. They're smartly designed and they're comfortable cloth. This has Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. It has all the good stuff you need. Pair your phone, Bluetooth. Very nice sounding Infinity sound systems. Way better than I expected it to sound. Really clear audio system. The bad bits. The steering is not there. At least not on center. Once you're off center and you're moving, you can kind of tell what's going on, but on center, it's weird that I even say on center because it feels like there's no center. It's a very odd tune to the power steering here, where if you're cruising, like right now, left, back, left, and right, it actually feels great. When you're not doing this every day though. So when you're commuting on the highway, it feels like it's constantly just cruising down the road, where you would normally feel like a slight deadness in the center in most cars. It feels like it doesn't have that all, like they tuned it out, like that would be a good thing, but all that does is it feels like the wheel skips, and you're constantly correcting. It's a really odd sensation, and I'd rather them just tune back in a slight deadness in the center so you're not constantly doing that. It just feels really odd. Now the other thing is, and this is something that our friend MacPherson noted in his review for the smoking tire, there's a weird bit of ECU harness cabling going down by my left foot. It seems like it might have been slightly worse in Matt's video, and I think they tried to tuck it up there a little bit, but my foot still hits it. I wear size 12s, I can still feel the cable occasionally, and it's not when you're just on and off the clutch, it's when you go to move your foot off and on the clutch that the tip of your toe hits it. It's really annoying. And that should be something that's very easily fixed, and I'm sure they'll have something for that very soon. Still, odd oversight there. Now the other thing I don't really love is that there's a bit of rev hanging, which I understand is an emissions thing. The noise inside isn't quite as good as the noise outside, which is a shame, but lots of cars do that. You can't fault that. Turbo engines are hard to make sound great. It's doable, but it's something that they have to throw lots of money at with exhaust systems. And this car doesn't necessarily need that. If you want it, you can do it on your own in the aftermarket. I really hope there's a way to tune out that little bit of rev hang as well. Also, There's a tiny bit of boost lag in between shifts when you're on it. It's not enough to kill my enjoyment and excitement of this car. I'm really impressed with Hyundai's second effort here, especially when I look at the Monroney and see $23,000. This is a great alternative to the GTI. The GTI is nicer inside because it's essentially a baby Audi at this point. However, this is fantastic inside as well, especially again at that price point. This drives really, really good overall, and that makes me very happy because the Veloster is finally becoming the car we always hoped it would be. Now, I cannot wait to drive the N version. I feel like the N version jumps over the GTI and might be just below the Golf R. It's 275 horse, so it's not quite up to the Golf R's number, but it's really close. That car weighs 3,100 pounds. I'm sure the Golf R is heavier. I mean, that's going to be a great head-to-head at some point that a larger outlet can afford to do, and we should all pay attention to that. But the noise that thing makes, the full-on Nürburgring tuning there seems like it's going to be a great thing. But as it sits, if you're not ready to go full-on Veloster N, the R-Spec here, this turbo car, it's a great car. Extremely livable on a daily basis. If you don't drive it like I do, you're probably at 30 miles per gallon. I'm at 25 because I've been enjoying it. Yeah, I like it. I had the baby seat back there earlier. I still don't get the 3-door thing. I'm gonna be honest here. I don't get the 3-door thing. It's quirky for the sake of quirkiness. I could just use the other door. Like when I pull into my one-car garage to get my daughter out of the car seat, she has to climb out and over this way rather than just opening that door. So that's really annoying. That's a special case for me, but still, just make it a 5-door hatchback. It does not need to be a 4-door hatchback. Evolve that fourth, the whatever, 5th, 4th door, however you want to credit the number of doors. Beyond that, like I said, seats comfortable, all of the features and amenities, great. I'm really happy with this thing. I like you just get into it. It sounds good in here, and it goes. I really want to try to autocross this thing to push out make the flaws magnified to see how much they really matter to me. I would love to see how bad that rev hanging could be in an autocross situation. I would like to see if I notice that deadness, the lack of us on center and steering. I feel like I wouldn't notice that. I feel the steering bit. I feel like I would notice the rev hanging and the bit of boost lag. But other than that, this is just it's a blast. Great chassis. I love the design too. I forgot to talk about that. The design on the outside is a nice way to evolve this vehicle. There's some great feature lines in the front fenders. I really like the grille treatment, a little spoiler in the back, the black wheels on this sunset orange color. And then speaking of those wheels and why this might be really good on an autocross track, this wears Michelin Pilot Sport tires. That is a lot of tire for this car. That is tons of tire. But I am not against over-tiring a vehicle. So that is a wonderful option. I believe those are 18-inch wheels. That means this thing is grippy. Happy to downshift, happy to go. It was great on the highway, minus a little bit of steering quirkiness. I've enjoyed my time with this car, but all it does is make me long and lust for some time with that N, and we are getting that time soon, actually. Hyundai is going to hold an event for that vehicle in the States at Thunderhill. And I haven't driven Thunderhill in years, since I raced a Lemons car there. So I can't wait to drive that racetrack. I can't wait to drive that car on a racetrack. That means we're going to give you a proper test of the N. For now, the R-Spec on the road, thumbs up. Love the price, love the style, love 90% of the driving experience, and that's a win, I think, for this car, because the past car, it just wasn't there. And this car, like I said, this is a great, slightly more value-oriented competitor to the GTI. Veloster, the Hyundai Veloster. Though when it is hot out, this thing is the devil's asshole. Sorry, Hyundai. Not as premium inside, just because there's something about the upgraded GTI interior that just really shines. Where, again, I'm not trying to undercut how nice this space is. Just, the GTI is a tick above. I just want to make it not sound like I'm attacking this for having a bad interior. This interior is great. The GTI is just a tick higher. Performance-wise, the GTI is 1 or 2 ticks higher. But Veloster, you wouldn't even consider it in the same league as the GTI. Now I truly consider it a competitor. Downshift. Downshift. Tire spin. Go. Yeah, it's fun. I like it. It's a good car. Car runs good.